We begin here in the United States, where last night President Joe Biden delivered a fiery State of the Union address as he gears up for a re-election showdown with Donald Trump. In fact, the speech bore little resemblance to his past State of the Union addresses. Instead, this was 68 minutes of President Biden at his most energetic, a commander-in-chief eager to engage with Republicans and ease Democratic jitters about his political prospects. President Biden's list of objectives was long, and it included his accomplishments in office and a look ahead to a second-term agenda. But of course, the highlight of the speech was his attacks on none other than Donald Trump. In fact, there were 13 of them in all without even mentioning Trump by name. The president, however, laid out three challenges: the war in Ukraine, the January 6th insurrection, and reproductive rights. But he lambasted Donald Trump for his statements about encouraging Russia to invade NATO.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
He also sent a message to Moscow in his speech saying that he will not bow down to Vladimir Putin.
Watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down. I will not bow down.
Now, shortly after, President Biden slammed Donald Trump over his claims of 2020 election fraud. He called Trump's lies the gravest threat to democracy and accused the former president and Republicans of trying to rewrite history surrounding the January 6th Capitol riots.
History is watching, just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you were here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed. America stood.
And in a direct response to Trump on immigration, President Biden said he will not demonize migrants as he implored Republicans to support a bipartisan border security proposal.
I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not separate families. I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new.
Meanwhile, as Biden laid down the gauntlet, former President Donald Trump was posting running commentary on social media. No surprise there. In fact, Trump made roughly 4 dozen posts during the address, ranging from immigration and inflation to even Biden's coughing and his hair. He also gave a rebuttal to President Biden's address, blaming the president for what he called a horror show on illegal migration to the country.
What's happened now is a horror show. The country, our country, is being laughed at all over the world. Over the past 3 years, Biden has actively aided and abetted the importation of millions and millions of illegal alien migrants and resettled them into your communities. Joe Biden is on the run from his record and lying like crazy to try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party have created.
Meanwhile, in the House chamber, House Republicans heckled Biden. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene interrupted the president, asking him to speak directly about Laken Riley, a nursing student who was allegedly killed by an undocumented immigrant in Georgia.
In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read. Laken Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
Now, President Biden also made abortion rights a major focus of his address. In fact, he vowed to codify Roe v. Wade if given a Congress that, quote, that supports the right to choose.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
And lastly, the president also responded to critics who have been citing concerns about his age. Take a listen.
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy. My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are, it's how old are our ideas.
Make no mistake, the president came out swinging, even at one point taking a jab directly at the Supreme Court. The election is 8 months away, and President Biden is announcing to the naysayers, and especially to Donald Trump and his MAGA base, he is in fact ready to fight for his job. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.